This is a mock interview conducted by ForumIAS Academy at New Delhi. The interview panel includes eminent academicians, retired bureaucrats, and other luminaries. The objective of the program is to acquaint the candidate with the format and expectations of the personality test conducted by UPSC.
Sir, please may I come in?
Yes.
Please come. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Please take it.
Thank you, sir.
So, Ashutosh,
Yes.
first thing first, that when you come in, you greet only the chairperson, look at others also, but don't greet them individually.
Okay, sir.
All right. Secondly, I observed that you are a very, very bright student all throughout. 10th, 95.4% marks. 12th, 98.2% marks. Though it was ISC board. Again, in BTech IIT Kanpur, which is the most prestigious institution of this country, you got 9.9.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. So why didn't you take up higher studies after your BTech or MBA?
Sir, right from my time of my graduation, I had made up my mind to go and serve in the civil services. And the intention was because I felt that civil services would provide me a diversified opportunity and also an opportunity to serve at a grassroots level. And in part, I was also inspired by my mother, and she has also been a driving force for me to aspire for the
Your
civil
mother
services.
is in government?
So she is an
teaching.
assistant teacher, sir.
In a
in the-
government school?
Yes, in the government school, sir.
All right. Okay.
And sir, I've also read many inspiring initiatives that have been taken by various civil servants, and that also motivated me to take this job, sir.
And you have appeared 4 times. This is your 4th attempt.
Yes.
Why couldn't you make it to the services?
Sir, in my first and second attempt, I could not qualify the prelims examination itself, and that was because I had taken a lot of guesswork there, and so I got a lot of negative marks.
How that possible? With your background, educational brilliance, how could you do that in your prelims?
Sir, I was feeling that those questions that I am opting for, they were correct, but later they turned out to be wrong. They were, I think, more of a blind guess that I took back then.
And you had taken political science even at that point of time?
Yes, sir.
Why didn't you take electrical engineering for your option?
Sir, this is because this political science international relation, it had an overlap with other GS papers as well. So I thought that it will help me in better understanding of other general studies paper.
So you don't have any regret on that?
No, sir. Sir, I've enjoyed reading it, sir.
So this is the first time you are reached to the level of interview?
Yes, sir.
How did you do your written examination this time as compared to earlier times?
Sir, I've tried to do my level best. There were certain papers in which I had not performed well in my last attempt, and so I've tried to work hard upon them, sir.
So do you think that there would be a substantial improvement in your marks in the written examination?
Sir, I always believe that efforts do result in a positive results, and
Don't give me gyan, yeah? I'm asking you a very simple question.
Yes,
What is your assessment?
sir, my assessment is that, sir, it would result into the good results.
Very good. Say like that. Don't say that this Gita ka gyan, this doesn't cut eyes over here.
Sir.
Otherwise also, you should be very truthful, whatever you are saying. All right, you come from Lucknow.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me something about Lucknow. What is so special about Lucknow?
Sir, the Lucknow, it has been a seat of a line of Nawabs since the medieval era, and because of that, there is a very syncretic culture of the Lucknow that is premised on Tehzeeb and Tamiz. And the Lucknow, it is famous for the cultural aspects like the architectural marvels, which are a fusion of Mughal and European style architecture, like Bada Imam Bada, Rumi Darwaza. Apart from
What
that,
is special about Rumi Darwaja?
sir, it is named after a Sufi saint Jalaluddin Rumi, and it has been modeled on the lines of a similar gate that has been in Constantinople in Turkey, sir.
Primarily because people thought that Constantinople is nothing but Rome.
Yes, sir.
So that time they started calling it. But why was Bada Imam Bada constructed? What is the story associated with that?
Sir, Nawab Asif ud-Daula had constructed Bada Imam Bada because at that time the Awadh was facing a famine, and as a result of which he decided that the Bada Imam Bada would provide an employment to the people who were facing the distress. So a lot of people were employed, and it was said that it was a kind of public welfare program that was envisaged by Nawab Asif ud-Daula, sir.
So it was a Manrega program of that time.
Yes, sir.
All right. But there is another story associated to it. Any idea?
Sir, I'm not aware
So
of
the
it.
nobles and the richer section of society, they were asked to come in the night and do the work because it was below their self-respect and dignity to work during the daytime and seen as working as a mason kind of thing or
Okay,
as
sir.
worker. Before Lucknow, the capital was Faizabad.
Yes, sir.
Why the capital was shifted from Faizabad to Lucknow?
Sir, exact reasons I'm not aware of it, sir. I'll try to read about it, sir.
So the Gomti flows through Lucknow.
Yes, sir.
What is the origin of Gomti and where does it meet Ganges?
Sir, origin, I'm not exactly sure of the place, but I think near Pilibhit something it originates,
All right.
and it meets Ganges near, sir, I think Varanasi, some place afterwards.
After Varanasi, much after Varanasi.
Yes, sir. I'm not
Gazipur.
exactly sure. I'll read about it, sir.
Just before Gazipur.
Yes, sir.
All right, okay. Balia was recently in news. Why? Balia is the easternmost district of Uttar Pradesh.
Yes, sir.
Why was Balia in news?
Sir, I have not followed that specific
Every day it
aspect.
was coming in newspaper. Anyway, yeah. Acha, all right. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right. Now, tell me, since you are taking international relations, had you been the head of the state or the chief advisor to the Prime Minister and the President of Sri Lanka, what advice you would have given to address the current issues in Sri Lanka?
So the first advice would have been to ensure that there is a cut down on unnecessary expenditure so that the valuable foreign reserve and the reserves and the monetary resources can be saved. Secondly, I would advise them to negotiate with the bilateral and multilateral domains with the countries like India. And from the perspective of Sri Lanka, I would even advise them to ask with the China and negotiate the bailout packages with the IMF as well to get certain amount of a bailout
So, what
package.
can they get from India? How will they get benefited from India?
Sir, India being an important neighbor and of the Sri Lanka, India can be a source of the fuel and food.
Fuel, हमारे नहीं है. We are importing 80% of our fuel from abroad.
Sir, the Indian refineries are known for the exports of the refined fuel, and India has provided 40,000
They
metric.
can, for that matter, it is better to import fuel from Saudi Arabia
Yes, sir.
rather than importing from India or Indian refineries. That will be, transportation cost will be higher.
Sir, in that case, sir, that can also be an option if the country, like, I would suggest them to explore what can be the best way out. And if the Saudi Arabia provides a better terms, then certainly, sir, I would advise them to go for the Saudi Arabia as well. But India being a major neighbor, I would also tell them that India has a history of helping the neighbors, and there is a generous and concessional lines of credit are also provided by India.
Do you really think that India is known for helping its neighbor?
Sir,
When did we help our neighbors?
Sir, in the context of Bangladesh, India has been the largest. It has provided
No,
around
we
8.
never helped Pakistan. We had our own vested interest.
Yes, sir.
We helped the people of Bangladesh because
Yes,
of
sir.
other reasons. We never helped the neighbor.
Sir, in Maldives, Operation Cactus was carried out, under which when there was a coup attempt, Indian Marcos, the Marine Commandos, were sent to ensure that law and order prevails there, sir. So India has been a place where India has played a role in
If
constitutional.
India is known for helping its neighbor, India would be very well respected by all its neighbors. Nobody respects India. You look at even Burma, or you look at even Bhutan, our relations are going down. You look at Pakistan, China, Sri Lanka, even for that matter, Maldives.
Sir, the present world order is in a state of the flux, and because of the interference of other actors like China, definitely the new dynamics are emerging in India and its neighborly relations. But I think that India does play a major role in having a good relations. Whether recently we saw the Prime Minister of Nepal, Shri Bahadur Deuba, he visited India, and the Aliganj Motihari pipeline, the Kathmandu Raksol railway link, they were inaugurated. The Sonali Adhyay, that is the golden chapter, is going on with India and Bangladesh.
Tell me, my last question. What is the genesis of our strained relation with China?
Sir, though we started on a good note by a Panchashil agreement, I think the asylum that was provided to the Dalai Lama during the Tibetan crisis, during the Tibetan uprising, it sowed a seed of discontent between India and China, because China looked in this act of India as an interference in its internal affairs and breach of the Panchashil. And so as an act of overreach, the 1962 war was to safeguard its interest in the Tibet, and the war that happened ultimately sowed the seed of distrust.
So you want to say that the cause of 1962 war
Yes.
was basically giving asylum to Dalai Lama?
Sir, that was one of the major factors. Apart from that, the forward post policy that was adopted by Pandit Nehru for the first Honorable Prime Minister of India, that was not looked very well by the Chinese side, and that is why there was a Chinese reaction, sir.
So you want to say, but Chao En-lai and Pandit Nehru, they were very close friends.
Yes, sir.
Chao En-lai came to India.
Yes, sir.
On his invitation, he was about to sign an agreement, important agreement. Nehru, everybody today's government is criticizing Pandit Nehru because Pandit Nehru was perceived to be close to Chinese. So how do you say that he was, because of his forward policy, Chinese did not like him?
Sir, apart from that, there is also fundamental Middle Kingdom syndrome mindset that is there in the Chinese civilization itself. So I think that idea wherein the China looks at itself as the center of the world order and its expansionist tendencies that have been since its formation in 1949 itself, because we saw that the China is the only nation that expanded its area after the independence in 1949. So this mentality, this mentality led it to Chinese view this act of the Nehru in a suspicious way. Rather than going for the dialogue, they went for a war against India.
If that was the case, they had occupied a large part of Arunachal Pradesh. So why did they vacate it then in 1962?
Sir, exact reasons I am not aware of it, but I think that...
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Please.
What does your name denote?
Sir, Ashutosh is one of the names of Lord Shiva, and it means the person who grants boons very quickly, sir.
So you have PSIR as your optional.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain me what is meant by deep state?
Sir, deep state is a term that is used in the context of Pakistan, and the deep state refers to the hidden elements who control the real levers of the power behind the formal structure. For example, in case of Pakistan, it is the inter-services intelligence, the ISI, that has exercised more than the required influence in the domestic politics. And the formal government, that is the civilian government, though it seems that it has the power, but the real levers lies with the ISI, sir.
So what is the basic characteristic by which we identify any agency in a country as deep state?
Sir, it should possess certain element of a coercive power. For at least for the deep state to be effective, it should have an element of the coercive power, and it should also command significant influence within the domestic political environment.
Fine. That is important, but the key factor is that it is an unelected
Yes, okay, sir.
body,
Yes.
right, which exerts its influence. So you have studied political science also.
Yes.
Currently, we see that in almost all political campaigns, right, there is a lot of focus on distributing freebies.
Yes, sir.
Free rights to women, free electricity bill, free water bill. So do you think that this is a very dangerous policy wherein no assessment of fiscal health is done while promising these freebies, and subsequently the states which promise this, then they tell the center that we need financial packages for implementing our schemes, right? So what do you understand of this freebie culture? Why is it getting popularized, and why are people voting such parties to power?
Sir, in my opinion, the post-COVID economic crisis has led to the significant economic downturn, and a lot of people have lost their jobs. There has been a lot of rural distress, and due to this, the populist policies and the freebies that are being offered by the political parties, they are becoming lucrative for the common people. And they definitely pose a significant challenge to the fiscal health. And even the chairman of the 15th Finance Commission, he pointed out that they are a quick passport to a fiscal disaster. So these freebie culture, I think all the political parties need to come together, and when they need to analyze the fiscal impact and accordingly frame their program, the political program.
Okay, fine. So you must have come across that 2 days back, Honorable Prime Minister, he pointed out in a VC that many states are not cutting their VAT duties, due to which fuel prices are remaining high.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So can you tell me what is the approximate percentage of VAT in calculating the fuel price?
Sir, exact percentage I'm not aware of, but if I'm allowed to guess, sir, I think it's around 23%, sir. But I'm not sure, sir.
Okay. So, but that varies from state to state, right?
State, sir.
Okay. No problem. You are from Uttar Pradesh.
Yes, sir.
Uttar Pradesh is seeing a lot of development of expressways.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what do you think will be the multiplier effect of these expressway on the economy of the state?
Sir, the first direct impact while the construction of the expressways is that it generates lot of manpower related work, skilled as well as the unskilled work for the people, and so the job creation aspect is there. The second, the capital investment that occurs while the procurement of the material, availing the services of the consultancy firm, that again it generates investment in the economy. That has a positive multiplier effect. The multiplier effect can be the first, the expressways, due to it the logistic cost cuts down, and due to it the industrial development of the state can take a higher trajectory, and the connectivity to the major economic zones, for example the Yamuna expressway has become very promising for the Noida, and we can see the film city, the electronics manufacturing city, etc. is coming up, and this is further facilitated by the Jewar airport that is now going to lead to multimodal connectivity. So I think this is the main impact.
Good. So what is the last self-improvement book that you have read?
Sir, the last book has been The Power of Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy, sir.
And you have also mentioned sun salutation, that is basically Surya Namaskar.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So currently in North India we are facing a severe heat wave.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday the temperature almost reached 46 degrees, which is almost unprecedented in Delhi.
Yes, sir.
Why are we facing such a drastic heat wave condition?
Sir, usually in the pre-monsoon period, there are the pre-monsoon local storms that happen in India. However, this time this happens because sometimes the moisture-laden winds, they coming from the Mediterranean Sea, that is the western disturbances, they occasionally cross over in the Indian subcontinent. However, this time such winds have not crossed over into India. So such temporary relief that was brought by the pre-monsoon thunders and showers, that is not being seen this time, and consequently the heat waves, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Ashutosh.
Yes, sir.
So you have done electrical engineering.
Yes, sir.
Now many electric two-wheelers are catching fires.
Yes, sir.
But in the summers, right? But the e-rickshaws are not catching fire. Why this anomaly? And what are the reasons for electrical two-wheelers catching fire?
Sir, one of the reasons that has been pointed out by the Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highways is that because of the excessive heat and also because of the certain standardization of the batteries has not been done for the two-wheelers, there has been a problem of thermal runaway, and because of which a battery usually consists of a series of cells, and because of if there are certain poor quality insulation between 2 or 3 cells, and then it leads to kind of short circuit situation, the current rises, consequently the heat generated rises, and thereby leading to the vehicle catching the fire. Sir, reason why the three-wheelers are not catching fire, I am not exactly aware of it, sir. I'll try to read about it.
Okay, all right. Do you think the electrical vehicles are really environmental friendly?
Sir, the electrical vehicles themselves have certain carbon footprint. If we look at the lithium ion manufacturing itself has the carbon footprint because the mining of the lithium and then manufacturing of the battery. And also the operation of the electric vehicles, as long as it is done from the thermal energy, the power electricity that is generated by thermal means, it will have a certain carbon footprint. But as the renewable energy integration increases in our grid, the operation of electrical vehicle is going to become more greener, sir.
Okay, all right. What do you think of nuclear energy? And don't you think, we are facing a situation of coal shortage, and then dams are also not constructed. So in terms of the source of energy, why are we not promoting nuclear energy?
Sir, nuclear energy, first of all, in a short period of the time, the nuclear energy cannot be scaled up because the safety related concerns are there, and also the construction of the nuclear energy requires a significant capital investment, and there are regulatory norms also there. But certain steps have been taken. For example, a few years back, India announced the creation of indigenous nuclear reactors. Upgradation of the Kudankulam nuclear reactor is being carried out by Russia. The France is contributing in the construction of Jaitapur nuclear power reactor. So I think steps are being taken, but then the certain time period is required and budgetary allocation has also to be done.
Will Russia-Ukraine conflict also again boost the need for nuclear energy across the globe also?
Sir, Russia-Ukraine war has seen the prices of the coal and the fossil fuel rising. So certainly in such an environment, the nuclear energy is going to become a lucrative option. And in the United States, we saw that few days back, the president released certain funds for the upgradation and maintenance of the nuclear plants. So many countries are looking at a nuclear power as an alternative source of a safe and reliable power, sir.
Okay, all right. Why do we need to establish a domestic semiconductor manufacturing ecosystem?
Sir, we can see that in current scenario, we are overly reliant on the many countries like Taiwan, etc. for the semiconductor supply. And in the post-COVID period, the shortage that was seen has severely affected the various industries like automobile industry, etc. Also, we can see in context of current Russia-Ukraine war, USA imposed sanctions on the supply of the semiconductor chips. So certainly they are a potential tool of a geopolitical leverage. So India wants to build the domestic capacity so that first it can provide the timely supply to the domestic industry and also can safeguard its strategic autonomy.
And what steps has government taken to promote the manufacturing
Sir,
of semiconductors?
India's Semicon program has been started by the government, and under it 76,000 crore package has been approved by the cabinet for the fabrication and manufacturing of the semiconductor as well as the display related chips. And Foxconn and Vedanta, they have even given an offer for manufacturing of the chips between 28 nanometer to 65 nanometers. So sir, these steps are being taken by India right now.
What is the current energy mix of the country in terms of electrical power, the installed capacity?
Sir, that as of 31st March 2022, the total installed capacity is 399 gigawatt. Out of it, 59% is from the fossil fuels. 39% approximately is from the renewable energy, out of which 13.7% is the solar power, 10% is the wind, around 12% is the hydro based, because now that has also been included in the renewable energy, and 1.7% is from the nuclear power, sir.
All right, good. Now, I really hope you are a very good candidate, and I really hope that you get through this year. You get any one of these services. However, let's say unfortunately you are not able to clear. What is plan B for your career?
Sir, as of now, if I am not able to make in the services, I will definitely sit for the upcoming prelims that is coming up. That is my 5th attempt and 6th attempt, sir. And sir, as of now, I'm thinking of only this because, sir, I have always told myself that keeping a plan B provides an escape option, sir. So not having a plan B gives a certain sense of dedication and focus that I think is necessary for me right now, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So hello, Ashutosh.
Hello, sir.
I see you are awarded Dr. Prateek Mishra Gold Medal at Kanpur. Who was Dr. Prateek Mishra? Who is?
Sir, he was an undergraduate student in the 2006 batch, and unfortunately he passed away a few years back. So his family and friends have instituted this scholarship.
Okay, that's a bit unfortunate to know.
Yes.
Did they make any kind of donation also for the... Because generally what happens is that, when the alumni makes a donation, it's named after that. So I understand the reason is quite different.
Yes, sir.
Here. Do you think that IIT graduates, they have not contributed in this regard to an extent? For example, you see about, have you heard about Harvard Endowment Fund?
Yes, sir, I have heard.
How much is the amount that they are managing?
Sir, amount I'm not aware of.
It's more than $50 billion.
Okay, sir.
So don't you think that IITs are lacking, and significant part of that has been raised through alumni only?
Okay, sir.
And don't you think that IITs are lagging in this respect? There hasn't been a significant contribution from the alumni towards their, institute's alma mater.
Sir, I would humbly beg to differ on this issue.
Okay.
If we can see in case of IIT Kanpur itself, around 100 crore has been donated by the Mehta Family Foundation from the USA for the construction of the School of Medical Research and Technology. Apart from that, many chairs are being sponsored by the many alumni. And recently, the Ranjit Singh Institute of Rosi Shiksha for providing employment-related education to the rural youth nearby the Kanpur. That has been set up by the IIT Kanpur, and an IIT Kanpur foundation has been set up on a similar lines like the Harvard for generating the funds from the alumni. But yes, historically, this contribution has been low, and this has been because the IITs traditionally were dependent upon the government funds. So there was never any initiative. But as the number of students and the research opportunities are rising at IITs, they are also looking for garnering more funds from the alumni.
And do you think that this will, it's a good step that they have started, they have a separate management agency that will manage the fund. Do you think that it will impact the kind of research also that is doing, because earlier they were completely dependent on the government, so there was no urge within, and there was no kind of pressure also.
Yes, sir.
But now they are going to the market, they are going to raise money, so it will create a pressure on them also to deliver results in terms of research outcomes.
Sir, going to the market creates a certain sense of accountability, and also the research will now become more industrial relevant, and also more industry academia collaboration will also be seen in IIT Kanpur. And a techno park has been set up for that purpose at IIT Kanpur, as we can see, and similar steps are being taken at other IITs as well.
Okay, all right, very good to know. You have graduated in electrical engineering. Is it different from electronics, or electrical electronics same? What is the difference between electrical and electronics?
Sir, between the electrical and electronics, the difference is that electrical deals with the high scale power generation and the transmission, that is usually in the orders of megawatt, gigawatt, while the electronics on the other hand deals with the small scale power. For example, the mobile phones consume the power in order of microwatts. So that is one of the difference. The second is that the electrical engineering relies more on the use of conductors, because the high scale power transmission is done by them. But in electronics engineering, semiconductors are the key driving force.
Your engineering was related to which domain, electrical or electronics? Because I understand that lots of IITs, they teach electronics courses under electrical. IIT Bombay, I don't think they have separate electronics department. At least in nomenclature, student of electronics also gets electrical degree. Is it correct?
Sir, similar case is there in case of IIT Kanpur also.
So why haven't they changed it after so many years? Don't you think that it should be changed? It gives a very wrong signal in the market that you are an electrical engineer versus you are an electronics engineer.
Sir, I think this kind of step certainly can be envisaged by IITs, and it needs a wider.
Why do you think that it has happened? Why haven't they changed it, or why is it named electrical?
Sir, I think maybe it's because of the historical reasons, the legacy.
And nobody thought of changing the name?
Sir, I think deliberation would have been done, but I am not aware of this.
Okay. So you have studied in Kanpur. When was the last time you visited Kanpur?
Sir, since 2017 I have visited, sir.
Okay. Is Ganga clean now in Kanpur?
Sir, in overall context, if we see in the Ganga, around out of 120 stations that monitor the state of Ganga, around in 80, the water quality has been improved to the bathing level. But Kanpur, unfortunately, still continues to be polluted in the terms of Ganga, in the Ganga pollution, because the effluent discharge that happen from the leather tanneries and the textile tanneries, it leads to the discharge of chromium 6+, which is one of the carcinogenic agent. And the common effluent treatment plant still have not been implemented by most of the leather mills. So I think the condition still remains.
Who is the implementing authority? Is it the state government, the local government, the central government?
Sir, under Namami Ganga mission, the National Ganga Council is chaired by Honorable Prime Minister of India, and under it comes the Empowered Task Force that is headed by Honorable Minister of Jal Shakti, and then we have the National Clean Ganga mission that is headed by a Director General level person, and below it we have the State Ganga Committee headed by Honorable Chief Secretary, and then the District Ganga Committee. This is the 5-tier structure that has been created under Environmental Protection Act.
And what do you think is still the reason why Ganga is still polluted in Kanpur? Because of effluents are still going on.
Yes, sir.
And there is such a high level monitoring committee, 5 level you are saying,
yes,
and still there is no action on the ground. What is stopping the government from asking the effluent, whoever I think it is the tanneries, for example,
yes, sir.
Why aren't they forcing them to install the treatment plants?
Sir, first, if you look in the terms of budget utilization, only 39% of the budget of the Namami Ganga mission has been utilized so far. And regarding so this creates a budgetary constraint. So the adequate funds are also not there for the tanneries. And also, as we can see that right now, if the government forces, then it will lead to extra economic burden on the leather tanneries. And recently, around 40 tanneries have shut down because of the economic crisis. So government wants to adopt a consultation-based approach rather than forcing by a strong mandate.
Kanpur, how much is the population?
Sir, its population I'm not aware of.
Is it a council or a corporation?
Sir, it's a corporation.
What level does it, what is the difference between council and corporation? Should a town have a corporation or a council? On what basis is it determined?
Sir, usually in the constitution, the 3-level structure is there. For the transitionary area, there are the Nagar Panchayat. For the smaller towns, there is the municipal council. And for the larger cities, there is the municipal corporation. And the exact population terms I'm not aware of, but I think the governor specifies it via an order.
But there is no indication or any parameter that has been defined.
Sir, if there is one, I'm not aware of it. I'll try to
all
read
right.
about it.
Okay, thank you. That's all from my side. I'll pass on to the next person.